Hey everybody, all the psych here, and I thought I'd do a quick presentation on what's called sleep onset anxiety. It's also referred to as sleep onset association. Now, I just happen to be doing some continuing education credits online. This is information that I'm not that familiar with, but as I'm reading it, it sounds interesting. So I thought I'd present some information about it. This is really related to, for the most part, children. Okay. So let me look at my notes and I'll go through part of it right now. So sleep onset anxiety occurs when a child becomes accustomed to certain situations, objects, activities in order to fall asleep. So um, if the child does not have those items or those situations, those rituals, and tries to go to sleep, he or she might get agitated, anxious, may not be able to uh, fall asleep until that situation is resolved. Um, Now, again, the sleep onset anxiety um, most often develops in young children when their parents are first training them to, like to sleep in a crib or to sleep on their own in their own room or something like that. So they're having to make um, a transition. Okay. So they may use a pacifier. If you're parents, you kind of know this. They may use a pacifier, stuffed animal toy, the special uh, blanket, the Linus blanket or whatever it is. Um, that helps calm them and helps get them to sleep. Or there may be rituals that have to be followed, that they have to go through in order to sleep at night. So sometimes, again, parents, you probably know this. Sometimes, maybe you've had to sleep next to them, or you know, read them another story and another story, or whatever to actually facilitate sleep. Um, and maybe they need a, they have to get up and get a drink of water. All the stalling tactics that maybe you've had to deal with. Now, sometimes after you've done all that, everything's okay. Then the child wakes up at night, and then you might have to go through all of the same ritualistic behaviors as you did before. So this can get pretty tiring, obviously. So a child needs what's listed here on my notes from the CEU workshop that I'm taking is listed as helpful activities to support sleep. Um, and we'll talk about that. I imagine you already have your ideas on what that is. Um, but the problem is if they don't have those helpful activities, the parents are kind of stuck with having to, continually do these rituals, and then they're reinforcing the rituals that the child is asking for. So it really can become problematic. Now, most of the time, this happens, and then the kids are able to just grow out of it. But every once in a while, um, the kids don't grow out of it, and so parents need to have some strategies in terms of what they're going to do to deal with it and help their child just become a little bit more independent in terms of being able to fall asleep on their own. Um, so, parents of a child with sleep onset anxiety can help their child to slowly let go of the items or activities needed in order to sleep. So, this involves teaching the child how to sleep independently while continuing to provide reassurance and feelings of security. So, it's not like, we're going to just throw them in the room, shut the door, and let them scream it out while night after night. We're not going to try and traumatize them. Now, according to the American Sleep Association, parents should put their child to bed without going through sleep rituals while they're sleepy, um, and then you tuck them in, and go ahead and tuck them in, give them a kiss, whatever you do. But turn out the lights. Now, maybe you leave a night light on, but you turn off the lights. I know some kids get a little scared having the lights off, so you can go ahead and you can put a night light on. You don't want to leave the lights on because that's going to affect the melatonin that would be kicking in when the lights are off. Okay, and the melatonin helps them actually to sleep. So turn off the lights and then you leave the room. Now, if the child starts to cry, what you do as a parent is you wait 2 minutes and then you go back to the room and don't turn on the light. You don't want to do that, but you go back to the room and you're not going to pick up the child or anything like that, but you are going to go to your child and you're going to be calming and soothing and maybe give them a light, gentle, soothing touch, something like that, just to have your child feel secure. Okay. We just don't want to foster any sort of dependence and start the whole routine over again by turning on the light and then going through the same ritual, that type of thing. So you do that, and then let the child know, okay, now I'm going to be leaving, and let's see if you can get to sleep. If the child cries again, what you do is you actually wait a little bit longer. So now you're trying to stretch out that period of time. It was 2 minutes the first time. Now see if you can stretch it out to maybe 3 minutes or maybe 4 minutes. So this is a kind of a slow step-by-step sort of procedure. It's kind of like successive approximations in a way, where eventually your child is going to learn that, okay, there's going to be more of a gap, and in terms of time, they're hopefully going to be able to learn to self-soothe. Now, of course, they're not going to learn that on their own. You're going to also give them some strategies for that. So, what are some of those strategies? In my mind, I did a little digging in. These are just things that I actually do myself. Sometimes if I need it, I'll just do some breathing techniques, and then I've actually got a post on some breathing. I do like 4-square breathing. There's all kinds of breathing techniques that you can teach your kids. Sometimes I'll just breathe in, I'll belly breathe, so I'm breathing through my belly, and I'll maybe for a count of 6. There's, again, a lot of different ratios out there. Maybe a count of 6, hold it, relax your breath. If you can teach your child to do that and relax, you're teaching them a strategy that they can use, for the rest of their life. Strategies that can be used not just with regard to sleep, but with regard to stress, with regard to work, whatever might be going on to where they need to use a technique like that. There's a lot of things out there. I was doing, just kind of looking into it a little bit. A lot of good information out there. They can, if they don't know how to read, well, they can look at a picture book and they can look at the pictures. Maybe they do that for a few minutes before they go to sleep. It's nice not to get them too dependent on an object per se. But I mean, that might be one tool that they would occasionally use. Just like, occasionally maybe they go to sleep with their stuffed animal. It would be nice to be able to rotate some of the stuffed animals, in my perspective, because you don't want them, again, being too dependent upon any one particular item. My thought, and I'd be interested in your thoughts in the comments, my thought would be, let's see if we can even it's okay to, if you're talking to young kids, go ahead and have a little tangible object or something like that. But it's really nice if they can learn to be independent without the need to have that particular object, just doing it on their own independently. Um, just on a little side note, my daughter gave me some Stoic cards. I like Stoicism, the Stoic philosophy. And sometimes, you pick a card and tells you something that you do that maybe it's like, well, why am I going to do that? And in this case, one of the things might be, okay, sure, the child likes the little stuffed animal, but it might be nice for them to do something that maybe might be a little bit uncomfortable. You challenge them a little bit. So that might be, oh, okay, going to sleep without your little stuffed animal. Let's see if you can do it. Then you can set up all kinds of behavior support systems like, oh, you did that successfully. Now you've earned such and such. I'll get into more detail about that in another presentation, but you can use all of these strategies, rewarding strategies, to help them develop uh, greater independence. And again, we're talking about sleep here, but this can, I believe, can generalize to other areas. And like I mentioned, my daughter gave me the Stoic card, so every once in a while, I'll pull a card, and then I have to do something that maybe I don't want to do. I pulled a card 2 weeks ago which said, okay, sleep on the floor. Okay, so I slept on the floor that night, and not fun. I mean, I woke up pretty stiff, but the benefit that came out of that is when I went to bed the next day, I really appreciated uh, that bed much more. And I'm thinking, again, we do things like that with our kids, reinforce them on things that might be a little uncomfortable for them, but there'll be a little payoff down the road. Anyway, those are some of my thoughts and information that I got from a online training with regard to some sleep disorders. Um, if you've got some comments, go ahead and put them down. Maybe there's some other ideas that you'd like to share, go ahead and do it. Okay, so thank you very much.